Alright, so today I'm going to be reviewing some makeup brushes that were sent over from Heymkgo. As you guys can see, it came in this pretty kind of lavender lilac pouch, and it is the 15-piece set in champagne gold. So I'm pretty much just going to be doing my makeup with these brushes today, and then towards the end I'm going to give a review of the brushes that I used in the video. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get into this. I want to go ahead and show you guys the brushes up close first, just to show you guys what everything is and what I'm going to be using it for. I've already done my brows off camera, my lashes, and I put my primer on as well. I will show you guys how I'm going to go in and clean up my brows. I don't do them really heavy, but I didn't want to film that just because I only want to really focus on what the steps that are going to require me to use the brushes. So this is the spoolie and the concealer brush that I'm going to be using to actually clean up my brows. I like this brush because it's angled. I'm going to use this one as my foundation brush. This is like a powder brush, so I'll probably use this one whenever I get ready to put powder over my face. This one I'll probably use to stamp in my concealers, and as well as placement of my powder, but I'm not sure yet. This one I'm very interested in using. This one looks like this will be more of a contour brush, and I like this. I haven't seen anything like this before, so I'm ready to see how this one's going to use. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be something that I'm actually going to like. And then the rest of these are honestly just these here are kind of like your flatter brushes. So you could probably use these for the placement of concealer as well, which I may do because I like these. They're a little bit wider. And then the rest, again, are just brushes that I'm going to be using to place eyeshadow on. So that overview is over. I'm just going to have them sitting in my Morphe cup to hold. And now I'm just going to go ahead and get into me actually using the brushes. Alright, so here I'm going to be showing you guys that I'm just applying or cleaning up my concealer rather with one of the concealer brushes that came in the 15-piece set. During this part of the video, I'm just going to tell you guys what brush it is that I'm using as well as what I'm doing. I don't really want to talk about the products because I want to kind of focus on the brushes. I'm also going to include off to the side their website so that you guys can see some of the other products that are offered. And if you guys do want to pick up this particular set, I will have the link down in the description box below. So here you guys can see I switched over to the concealer brush that has the spoolie at the end to go ahead and clean up the top of my brows with a different concealer. All right, now I'm just going to be taking the foundation brush, and I'm pretty much just going to be using that to work in the foundation all over my face. I really did like this brush, so you guys are going to hear me talk about that, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right here. And I want to say that I really actually like this foundation brush. This is probably the first brush where I can actually see my product being distributed evenly along my face. And this brush just kind of glides, which I really like. I don't have to like try to force anything to go in any particular direction. And at first I was kind of weirded out because I thought that it was just sucking up the product, but I can actually see where this product is actually being distributed and it's not being drawn into my makeup brush where I have to keep applying. I only added more because I wanted to go for a full coverage look. instead of a light to medium. But this foundation brush is probably going to be the brush I'm going to start using for foundation, because this is impressive. For this to be, for the way it distributes it, and it distributes it evenly. Usually I would have to go in with a beauty blender after this to blend out the uneven parts, but it pushes the product actually in your skin instead of actually soaking up in the brush and disappearing, basically, to force you to apply more. I really like this. This is a nice even distribution of my product. So I'm definitely going to be using this as probably my primary makeup or primary foundation brush. Now I'm actually interested in seeing the brush is going to do that I'm going to use for my concealer as well as my powder. So while my concealers are setting, I'm just going to go in with that contour brush. I was very interested in that brush. I really did like that angle. I felt like it really helped my contour go on better. Here I didn't use like an actual contour product. I just used a bronzer to kind of contour my face. But overall, compared to my other brush that I normally use, I really like that. I feel like the groove kind of helped really go underneath my cheekbone, as well as the other areas that I did go in to contour with. So that's the brush that I'm going in with right now. Next, I'm going to be using this kind of flat top angled brush to kind of stamp in my concealers. And then the next brush that you guys are going to see me go in with, I did switch over to another flat top, but it was a little bit more fluffy and the bristles were a lot more, they weren't as compact, and I used that to finish going in mixing the two concealers together. And I really liked that brush because I was able to go in and really kind of move the concealer in the direction that I needed to. The previous one was just to kind of stamp it into place, and then I really like this one. I felt like the application was a lot smoother with this brush. Here I'm just taking a angled eyeshadow brush. You can use this for eyeshadow, but I typically use my angled brushes like this to kind of clean up the concealer around my nose where I'm contouring. And then I usually also go in with some type of contouring product or a deeper eyeshadow to go ahead and actually contour my nose. So that's all that I'm doing there. You guys can see that I went back to that initial brush that I used to stamp my concealer in, and I'm using that to apply my actual powder under my eye. I felt like it was a lot better for the application of the powder because I like to kind of stamp my powders into my skin. So that's what I use that brush for as well. Now I'm just switching over to the brush that I use to add my contour, just to clean up the contour around my nose. And then I'm also going to go ahead and go in with the powder brush. I really love this brush. It's probably my favorite next to the foundation brush that I use. I love how smooth and seamless my under eye looked when I used this brush to dust off the excess setting powder. And then I also use that same brush to go in with my micro powder that I like to use to set under my eye as well as my powder that I use to kind of go around the rest of my face wherever I didn't add setting powder. So this brush definitely gets a 10 out of 10 for me. I feel like it was just seamless and smooth. And now here I'm just going in with one of the eyeshadow brushes. I'm going to use this for basically both of the shades that I'm going in with. I'm just going in with a lighter brown, and then I'm going to go in with a darker brown to kind of add dimension on the outer portions of my eye. And now I'm just taking another shadow brush that's a little bit more compact, and I'm just going to basically use that to apply my inside shadow. Then to add my little pop of glitter along the under part of my eye, I'm just going in with a flat shadow brush. This may even have been another one of their concealer brushes, but I just used it. It was the smallest brush that I could find to add my glitter under the bottom of my eye like I like to do. So that is the brush that I use for that. And then the last of the brushes that were used to create this look, I just went in with another eyeshadow brush and applied my highlighter. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about these brushes really quickly for you guys. And I pretty much just want to give you a rundown of each one and how I felt about them. I can go ahead and just let you guys know that these are some of the best, if not the best, brushes that I have ever used for makeup application. I feel like these brushes made my makeup process a lot smoother. My products went on a lot smoother, and I was able to just all around move the makeup the way I needed to very quickly with these. I feel like these are definitely going to probably replace the brushes that were originally sitting in my Morphe cup, just because I really did like these. And so I feel like my makeup came out a lot smoother. I didn't have to really go in and fight harsh lines. I didn't have to go in with the beauty blender after my brushes and try to create and to get rid of the harsh lines. The first brush that I used was the spoolie, as well as the concealer end, and then I'm also going to show you this other concealer one that I used, because I use them kind of for the same thing. So I already told you guys that I used this spoolie and I liked it because it was angled. I used it to brush my eyebrows into place before I actually went in and applied my brow makeup, and then I used both of these to apply my actual concealer to clean up under my brows, and they were very good, especially this bigger one, because when I have to go in under my on my eyelid with my concealer, I have to go in with a bigger thicker brush to kind of go in and actually spread all of the concealer, as well as kind of blend it out. With this, I didn't have to. I was able to, you guys even saw it, I was able to just kind of like spread it out. The only thing I had to go in behind with, I think I did go in with my beauty blender just to make sure everything was pressed in, but I was very glad that I was able to actually spread the concealer out with just this brush alone, and I didn't have to go in and mess up more brushes to try to get the concealer to spread. So I really did like these two. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is the foundation brush that I used, and this is the one that I was impressed with the most. This brush right here really went through and spread my makeup to perfection. Basically, I've never had a makeup brush to actually move the product, if that makes sense. I usually have to kind of like go in like this and kind of like stamp it along my face, and then it kind of feels like I'm using a dragging motion to move it, versus this was very effortless. It just, the product basically moved with the brush, so I didn't have to go in, I didn't have to drag, and I feel like that also helped me not have to go back and deal with the harsh lines that I usually have. This next one, or next two, was the brushes that I used for my concealer. So this one, you saw me go in and initially kind of press the concealer in after I allowed it to dry in, and I really like that this kind of like got the concealer into my skin and into place. And then I actually loved this one. I loved how it blended both of the concealers together. And again, I loved how I was able to easily and smoothly move my concealers where I needed to move them. So these are definitely a win, but I think this was probably my favorite as far as the movement of my actual concealer under eye. Next was this strange looking contour brush. So I went in with my bronzer and I immediately liked this one. I picked up product very well. I didn't have to go in and use a lot of the product, and it applied very well. And I like that it kind of has that curvature where it can go right under the cheekbone and it moves along the groove of your face. They definitely did a number with this one. I don't have anything like this, so I definitely feel like this is something that I will be adding and will be a staple in my makeup brushes. This one was the powder brush. I really loved how I was able to just quickly get my powder off of my face. A lot of my other powder brushes, they don't, instead of like dusting off, they continue to push the setting powder into my skin when I want to get the rest of the residue off, and then sometimes it leaves it kind of like yellow because it doesn't get the rest of it off. I did not have the issue with this brush. It did exactly what I needed it to do. And then these are the last three. I don't think I used this one. This is the one that I used for my eyeshadow, and I used it for both my dark and deeper brown. And then this one was the one that I used to kind of go in line, contour my nose. I don't really do a lot of hard contouring, so I just needed this to kind of basically blend out the concealer that I added here. And this is one of those angled brushes, and I do have an angled brush already, but again, I like this one. And I also like with this brush that the eyeshadow picked up very easily, it moved very easily, and again, it helped my products be very pigmented. I didn't have to fight with the product and have to kind of keep going in, digging and using more product. This one picked up very nicely. So overall, I definitely feel like these are, they definitely have something with these brushes, especially if you are a beginner and you need a decent amount of brushes, but you don't want to spend a lot of money on them. I will 100% recommend those. And I am not a beginner in makeup, but I'm also not a professional either. And I 100%, like I said, these are going to be my brushes that I'm going to primarily use now. I feel like they have everything that I need for makeup application. And again, I feel like starting out, these are going to be easier for you guys to work with, just because the brush kind of does the work for you versus you having to do the work and you having to move the products where you need to move them. So I 100% would recommend these for beginners, and I also recommend them for people that are professional with makeup, just because I do feel like these are good quality brushes. I don't really have any cons, honestly. I tried to find something and I just really couldn't find anything. These are, like I said, going to be my primary brushes, so that says a lot to say that it's going to replace the brushes that I was using before. I feel like my makeup looks very nice and very smooth. I feel like everything is put together, and like I said, it was very easy to apply everything. I didn't have to struggle with it, so that was a huge plus for me. So if you guys do want these brushes, I am going to have them down in the description box below, the link to them where you guys can pick these up if you would like to purchase them. So that is pretty much going to conclude the video. I do want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you did like the video, do give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also feel free to share this video if you know someone that is looking for a good quality product, good quality brushes, but they don't want to spend a lot of money. Go ahead and send them this video. That's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in my next video.